safe journey. In fact, we are tonight traveling down train tracks that were laid over 100 years ago. And since then, there have been many stories about ghosts. Maybe you've heard about that crazy cat lady that lives just up the river from here. The most famous story about a ghost in the Provo Canyon is about the lady in the white wedding dress. Every year, people report they've seen her appear just outside our train. So there's a lot of stories, but ghosts? Well, some of the stories have come out of the fact that the Provo Canyon was actually the home to ancient civilizations many years ago. Now, everyone's heard about the ancient tribes that lived here. In fact, Mount Timpanogos that towers over the Provo and Heber Valley is named after an Indian princess of that tribe. And so, 100 years ago, when the train tracks we're on right now were built, the workers discovered the old bones of ancient cave people. But these were no ordinary cave people. Anthropologists soon determined that these people were carnivorous. That is, they were people that ate people. And it said that building this railroad was their final resting place. So sometimes people say they see the carnivorous cave people dancing by a fire over just to the left of the tracks. Ever since the railroad began. In fact, in the early days, many hobos would often ride this train from Provo to Heber City and back. But the ghosts of hobos? Reports have been pouring in about hobos appearing right along this stretch of track where we are. The very place where years ago a group of them was electrocuted. You see, in the early 1900s, hobos had become a real problem. And so to keep them off trains, the railroads tested an electrical fence. The shock of this fence was supposed to be harmless enough to keep the intruding hobos away. But one night in the early part of fall, when lightning storms really hit the canyon hard, a group of hobos who were about to jump on the train found out it was anything but harmless. The electrical current in that fence combined with a bolt of lightning and shot them all to death. Reports have been pouring in about hobos appearing right along this stretch of track where we are. Every year, it seems, there are reports in the Provo Canyon about the sightings of a mysterious lady in a white wedding dress. Nobody's sure if these reports are true or exactly who this ghostly sighting could be. But there's one story about this train that might shed some light on this haunting apparition. Many years ago, this train connected Heber City to Provo, and many people threw fancy parties on the train as it made its way up the steep canyon. And in fact, the parties got to be so much fun that pretty soon weddings on this train became very popular. But a tragedy struck 75 years ago today. A lot of people still call it the tragedy of Hester and Chester. See, Hester and Chester were riding this train to be married on a unfortunately cold and stormy October night. In those days, it was customary for the bride, Hester, to get ready in the caboose at the end of the train. So here she was, putting on her ruby necklace as the old train crept up the steep slope of the Provo Canyon. Chester, her love, was nervously pacing in the middle car of the train with all the guests. Suddenly, the train was split in half. No one knows for sure why, but the back half of the train became disconnected, and it started to roll back down the steep grade of the canyon. steel rails, and pretty soon the runaway train reached 100 miles an hour until, well, you can imagine. Train cars flew off the track like toys. It was unbelievable. The Provo River was a horrible scene of twisted metal and blazing fires. And for days, authorities searched the icy cold river, but there were no survivors, not even fish. When the officers searched the wreckage of the caboose, they didn't find Hester, not a trace. Some say she must have jumped to avoid the impending doom. Other people think the caboose hit a parked freight train so hard she was ejected from the car and never seen again. Chester was never convinced. Every year he searched and called out to his bride, his lost love, until the day he too passed away just 10 years ago. Tonight marks the anniversary of that cold October night when two lovers' dreams of wedded bliss became a miserable nightmare. But the mystery remains. What happened to Hester? Did she really die? Why didn't the conductor stop that runaway train? Are the sightings of the mysterious lady in a white wedding dress really true? Could it really be her? One thing's for sure, Hester wore a ruby necklace given to her by her love Chester. But when people report a sighting, they distinctly remember the ruby necklace is missing. The train is about to pass the old abandoned well. Now, in the old days, steam trains needed the water for more steam to get up the steep hill that's just ahead of us. Now, legend says that on a stormy October night, a mudslide caused a giant boulder to roll down the mountain and completely cover the opening to the well. You'll see it as we pass by here. That giant rock is actually still there. But for years, people have said they could hear the faint cries of a little girl. In fact, just last year, authorities thought for sure they heard something and tried to find her.
And is underway as we speak, but a terrible incident. Turn of events tonight up near.
Channel 2 News rescuers are trying to save a little girl trapped in a well in Robo Canyon. We take you there now live.
Can you imagine a baby this big, something that small?
A little girl trapped in a well.
Legend has it that little girl in the well was Hester's sister. Those two never got along. That was the conductor on the train that tragic year. He was famous. His name was John, but people called him Casey. He was the best conductor this railroad has ever seen. In fact, he was known as a hero because he saved the little girl's life. Legend says that one time when the train was pulling into the station, he saw two little girls on the tracks, of course, which is very dangerous. So he ran to the front of the train. One of the little girls was stunned by the oncoming train and froze in her place. Her sister was there on the tracks too. Casey couldn't tell if she was holding her down or trying to get her to move. Casey called out to her, but the train continued straight toward her. The brakes squealed, but there was not enough time. The train barreled toward them, and the little girl froze, and her time was running out. "Get out of the way, kid," he yelled. Casey knew he couldn't stop in time, so he climbed to the front of the locomotive and out to the cow catcher, and as the train came closer and closer, he reached out and grabbed her arm. He lifted hard and pulled that frightened little girl to safety. By then, her sister was nowhere to be found. That little girl was Hester, a lady in the white wedding dress. The See, one mystery that surrounds Casey is that while his body was found, legend says he was holding a piece of a wedding dress and the brake handle that could have stopped the train. His head was never found. Now, this train used to carry some of the most hardened criminals right to their jail cell. Many of those prisoners did indeed die in their jail cells for the awful things they did, but 2 convicts were sure they could ride the same train to freedom. They tunneled under their jail cells and planned to jump aboard a passing train and escape. So for years, they dug their caves little by little at a time until one day, the rumble of a passing train collapsed their tunnels and they were buried alive. The jail was washed away a few years back, and the skeletons of those convicts were found. So the story was true. Yes, they were buried alive here at this spot on these rails, still trying to find freedom from the grave. It's true that years ago an old woman who lived in Provo answered the door for trick-or-treaters on Halloween. But she was poor, unable to give them a treat, so the kids thought it would be funny to play a trick on her.
Yep, where else you guys want to go?
Let's not go to that house. Let's go to that house.
Well, hey, no, guys, let's go to this house.
No!
It looks kind of scary. That's where that old lady lives.
I think you should ring the door up. No, wait. You do it. This is way too scary. Let's go. Oh, dude, no. You do it. You're no. I'm the one who thought of this brilliant idea.
Yeah, Dave, so you should ring the doorbell.
I thought.
What are you kids? What do you kids want?
Trick or treat.
Trick or what? Let me tell you, little kitty, something. If you ever come near my house again, I will turn you all into black cats. And everyone who even looks at you will have bad luck. Now,
You don't think she could turn us into black cats, do you?
No way. Just prove it. Watch this.
No, come on, go through that door.
Hey, she broke her window. Are you crazy?
No, she won't do anything. She's just a horrible, no secret. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, look, the house is on fire.
what are you kids doing now? You burned my house down. I warned you. And now I hope you like to keep lies. This spider's running. This eyeballs and wings and that. Why you know troublesome wind turn these tiny rocks into dust?
Just off to the right is the old cabin where the old crazy cat lady lives.